It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
Welcome to the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show, where we explore the dynamic world of education technology. My name is Chinyelu Akpa, your host, and it's good to be here again. Last month, we delved into artificial intelligence in education, uncovering how artificial intelligence, AI, transforms learning outcomes, enhances personalized education, and predicts students' performance. We also tackled the ethical implications and the need for robust guidelines to ensure AI is used responsibly in our educational systems. A key takeaway was the importance of preparing our learners and educators to embrace and critically understand these technological advancements. This perfectly leads us into this month's conversation: digital wellness and resilience for learners and educators. In our digital age, where AI and other technologies play a significant role, it's crucial to maintain our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Digital wellness is about finding a healthy balance in our use of technology, ensuring it enhances rather than distracts us from our lives. Today, we will discuss how to foster digital resilience, which means developing the skills to navigate the digital landscape effectively, cope with its challenges, and use technology to support our overall well-being. We explore strategies to help learners and educators thrive in this tech-driven environment, ensuring our use of digital tools are sustainable and enriching. We will be sharing practical tips for maintaining digital wellness, the role of educators in modeling healthy digital habits, and how to build a resilient educational community that leverages technology for positive growth. So this month, get comfortable, have your notepad with you at all times, and join us as we delve into this interesting conversation. Remember, your participation is key, so do not hesitate to share all your thoughts and feedback with us. Joining me on the show today is an educator and the founder of Coach Freaker. He is passionate about teachers' development, especially teachers in low-income communities. With over 5 years of impactful work, he has empowered educators, enhancing their leadership and pedagogical expertise. He has also received numerous awards for his impactful journey and is a 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow, an alumnus of Teach for Nigeria, and affiliated with various global organizations driving education transformation. Join me to welcome Afeez Iyiola. Hello, Afeez.
Hi, Chunu. How are you doing?
Very well.
Wow, that was really, really powerful. I can see the energy, and I think that's really contagious as well.
Thank you. It's good to have you here.
My pleasure's being here today. I think it's really an interesting topic to talk to about today.
So, without cutting corners or any more pleasantries, let's jump right into it.
Okay, great.
Give us your take on digital wellness and digital resilience. Particularly because you have a background as a teacher as well. I know Teach for Nigeria makes you teach. That's what you do. You teach for Nigeria. So, and with the work that you did at Teach for Nigeria, you were primarily working in people in underserved, right, low-income communities.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to just see the play of technology and how that has affected their well-being and what we can do to improve. So the show is yours, really.
Okay, that's a bit really deep, going from Teach for Nigeria to what I do. So basically, working with teachers can be really very dicey when it comes to infusing technology in what they do, especially those in low-income communities. So basically, it's important that all teachers, we know that teachers are well occupied. That's the first
Very
thing.
busy people.
Very busy with their work that's required of them, also with their life. And now bringing them up to speed to infuse technology what they're doing, it's a lot, right? And that's why digital awareness is really key, especially for teachers. Let's start from there.
Yes.
So we want to balance how they use digital tools that will not affect who they are, basically their physical life, their mental, and of course their social emotional as well.
Yes.
So for them, it's about understanding what is peculiar to each of the teachers. So when I was working with teachers in low-income communities, what we firstly do is basically to ensure that who are you, understanding them, what are your, they have so many responsibilities. Understanding that as well makes you plan for how to onboard them on digital platform. And that is one key thing that has worked for teachers, being able to balance what they're doing and as well as also coming online to be able to do things. Because you know that right now, all teachers, you need to be on digital platform to learn, basically, to improve your pedagogical skills, to also follow the trend that is happening in another world that you need to bring back to your classrooms so that your kids or your students would also be globally informed, though they are locally rooted, but also they're also there. So that's the one key thing that is happening, for you to balance between, being a teacher and also being on the tech space. I just wanted to say that while working with Teach for Nigeria, most of what we do is with teachers in low-income communities, and they are really limited to, technology.
Technical advancement, yeah.
Yeah. So, but all the fellows, we call them fellows, those are the teachers placed in local communities, we try as much as possible to advise them on using technology with their learners. Don't forget, these learners don't have access to digital. Okay. So we try to do that, but the fellows just minimally, use their phones, use their laptops to bring digital skills, digital exposure to their classrooms. Okay. So that's basically what they do. And with that, it's not every time they are always bringing that to the classroom.
So it's a paced intervention. You know when to introduce technology and when to take it back out.
Exactly. Okay. So that's just what they've been doing.
All right.
Just for them to be able to balance how they use, the technology in their space.
All right. And there's something that, came to my mind while we were speaking. I remember some projects I worked on in the past where it was a situation where we were going to a secondary school and we were supporting the teachers and the learners in the school with digital laboratories. Okay. So not your regular physical laboratories, but they're in their laptops and their computers in the school. And speaking of digital wellness for the teachers, one pushback we got is, this is too much work for me.
Definitely.
Like, I'm writing lesson notes,
Definitely.
I am conducting assignments and tests, I'm marking notebooks, and now you're bringing, a digital lab. And behind that facade was their inability to even use some of these devices. Okay. So it came with, I don't know how to use devices, but they didn't present it that way. So how do we balance? Because digital wellness and resilience speaks about having that balance. And you mentioned it very briefly when you said you need to understand where these teachers are, perhaps socio-emotionally, before you begin to bombard them with all these technological interventions. Last month, we're talking about artificial intelligence, and there's so much that is available for them. But there will still be that weariness in a lot of teachers saying, this thing is too much work. How does it improve? How does it increase my salary? Right? How does it how won't it make my life more complicated? So what work are we doing in providing the knowledge to help them see, that this can make things easier for you and take away the fear? Are there any strategies? How can we support educators? Because I feel we need to tackle the educators' bits before we start going to the learners.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think where you're coming from now is really clear. And then I will use some of the things that projects I've done, also what we do at Coach Africa, right? So basically, we want to bring, like you said, you want the teachers to be acclimatized with digital tools, be able to use it to drive their work, and then to be able to improve learning outcomes, take the student to that level, and also the teachers themselves. So, but the one thing that always work, one thing that we always forget is that when we bring digital innovations, solutions to the teachers, most of the time you don't do our, background survey to understand who these teachers are. That's the first thing. And then able to test their, proficiency in the use of digital tools. The little digits you are looking at, even WhatsApp, some teachers may not be able to operate it right. You need to understand what is peculiar to this. Like for example, our teachers on our own platform, the first thing we did was, do you even have any experience, any exposure to digital skills at all? Because what you're going to be doing going forward is you're going to be working with digital tools. That's the first thing. Then secondly, who are you? The teacher, who are you? How many organizations do you belong to? What other extra?
The teachers belong to organizations.
A lot of, they belong to landlord associations.
Oh my God.
They belong to church programs, mosque programs, and all of that. And don't forget, there are also mothers, fathers in their house. So you need to understand that as well.
Okay.
Now, the third thing is, that's why our kind of, approach is different. So you now developed a structure that works based on that particular teacher. So they give us time that we'll work with them.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yes, a lot of work. That's why, coaching is different from every other thing. So now they give us the time. We work with the time frame. That is when they are available. Yes, that is key to their willingness to adopt, to use, and to use it to improve the learners. Because if they are not willing to do it, if they are not available, you can put anything on them. They will tell you, yes, we are listening, but they are not going to use it. You will not see the impact of it on them. So that's one thing. So like for what you've shared now, look at that particular school. There's availability of digital tools, and you want them to use it. So the first thing you need to do is, those teachers, you've identified, you wanted them to use this. Who are they? You need to find out who are they. Where would they be available? You said that some of them may not be able to use the digital skills. So what are you doing that? Digital literacy. First thing you have to do. When we onboarded them, we trained them on how to use Chrome. We trained them on how to use Google Meet. We trained them on every bit of what we are going to need them to do. We train them on that. So you have to do the same thing. And after that, you now to open their mind to who have done this thing before. That this had a greater impact to tell a story to them. That is what is called self-motivation. You need to motivate the teachers to be able to do this. That
sounds like a lot of work.
Exactly.
This is now taking the teachers back to the place of the students. So they're becoming students themselves.
You're making them to be a student because you don't wear the cap of teachers when you want them to learn. They become students. So you have to use that lens to view them. And most of the time, people that bring intervention don't do that.
This is very critical. You've highlighted something that is very critical, and I really hope that our listeners who are policymakers or school administrators are taking note of this, because it's something very crucial, and we see it play out in so many instances on a large scale. When you hear government saying we are rolling out a digital literacy training for teachers, and you're mandating them, you have to be there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
They're not learning.
They're not. They have experienced it, and I know they don't learn.
They don't learn.
They just want to be there to mark attendance and go back to they asked us to do this.
So the critical thing, as you've said, is trying to understand their availability.
Yeah.
So it would be good that you're even designing some of this type of trainings for teachers when perhaps they are on holiday.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So it's not when they still have to think about the regular schoolwork and family and balancing a training that is also very extensive, because you mentioned the time and it has to be in bite sizes. Because if you're doing a 10 to 4 for a teacher who doesn't even know where to put on the computer from, you're going to be unpacking a lot in those.
So then how you measure that is different. It's very difficult too.
Thank you, Afeez, for your insightful contribution so far. So my next question really would be, what would you say about designing a playbook with which the government, policymakers, school administrators can get support, a guideline that would help them understand how to onboard teachers, educators onto digital platforms, on using digital tools, with the work you're doing, Coach Frika, and with what you've shared so far, it looks as though you have a game plan, you have something that you're doing and evidence to show of what works. So what do you think? How do we support teachers?
Okay, thank you so much. I think one thing that has worked is don't base all your solutions on digital platform. It has to be an hybridized model. So that's the one way you'll be able to, you're going to foster digital wellness, and as well as teachers and students will be very resilient to digital space. So, for example, you want to onboard, let's say, 100 teachers on a particular development platform. So the first thing is, like we said earlier, understanding them. After you've done that, you would now take each of them through a journey on that particular platform that you want to onboard them to. And it has to be I keep saying bit by bit, because these are teachers that we work with every day. And everybody knows that teachers had a lot on their plate. So you have to put it in the bit by bit model. After that, once you onboard them, some of them, not 100%, because some of them needs to become a mentor for others. And that's what works for us, because they know how to onboard other people more than you that have the solution. Why? Because they understand themselves more. That's where empathy comes in place when it comes to solution. So a solution that doesn't have element of empathy, it's gone. So when you onboard some of them and they become a mentor to others, then that is easy for them to work at their pace. You as a solution provider want to work at your own pace. It doesn't work that way. They would need to work at their pace, but give them a timeline. So for us, when we onboard some of them on our platform, others that are really doing well will now mentor the other people. So when they do that, you see that you just saw them, everybody key into what you're trying to achieve. And before you know it, everybody was. So if government or policymakers understand that when you want to onboard teachers on digital platform, you need to first understand those teachers first. You need to get some of them trained 100% to get to that level, and then now use other people as a cluster, like a cluster kind of model to train other people to bring them on board. At that rate, they will not just get on board on the platform, they will understand the platform and be able to maximize the platform to be able to drive whatever outcome you have designed the solution for. And I think this is something that has been working. And you can see all of our teachers on Coach Frika, they be able to navigate their ways and also understand when it is really important for them to come on the platform. You don't put them on the platform every time. You lock, for example, we have all these LMS platform that we want teachers to train and all of that. You've got to put a lock on each of the model. Even if they are done with it, they won't have access to it until a particular time. That will control screen time.
We didn't even speak about screen time, but you're there already, and it's very interesting.
Very, very important, because you will discover that some people just rush through things, they get addicted to it, especially for students. Put a screen time lock on each of the module, or on each of the subject, on each of whatever you're trying to do. Like, for example, you have 6 weeks. Let that 6 weeks be 6 weeks.
6 weeks, and it gives you time to rest.
Exactly. Time to rest, time to absorb
what you have
digest,
learned,
and also to reflect.
Internalize, then implement.
Exactly. So that is one thing that we need to do differently. When we are designing, a product manager, a product designer needs to also think about that as well. So for students, it's really, really very serious. Especially when you gamify
learning
for students. Trust me, they'll get addicted to it. But what are you going to do differently? You've got to put a lock on the screen time. You've also got to put a reminder. You need to calculate, because it's easy for you to calculate using your model, to calculate how many hours or how many minutes a student have spent. Stop every activities. You don't have access to it until you come back after 5 hours or after 6 hours.
The way your smartwatch will tell you it's time to move about,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's time to exercise.
That's just a prompt that needs to be put on all those solutions. This is because, when they get addicted, they get distracted. And what you want to achieve, you won't be able to achieve it. They're just competing with the time. And that's not what we want to achieve. So I think this is one of those things that we have to...
Thank you so much, Afeez. I really hope that our listeners have been taking notes, and we've just, touched the tip of the iceberg, because we're still speaking at the part of educators. You need to get them well balanced so they can support the learners. And you've mentioned how it's important that we pace the teachers and how we incorporate peer mentorship into the design so that a teacher who knows becomes a master teacher and a mentor to the rest of the teachers. And because it's I see you doing, I want to be like you, I try to now become like you. And I think there's something else that you failed to mention that I believe could play out well is incentivizing learning as well. As I don't know, what do you say about that, incentivizing, how they use these digital platforms? Do you want to reward? Because first we want to get them on the platforms. We want to get them, understanding how to use it, very proficient so they can support adequately. Do you think?
I think I know where you're going to. You want to motivate the
yes,
teachers
it's motivation
to be
really.
able to,
yes.
Get them 100% to what they're going to do.
Yes.
So one thing that works that you need to don't put out there that you're giving them incentivizing anything. No, it's not. So we want to motivate you.
So there could be intrinsic rewards.
Yeah. It has to be intrinsic.
Yeah.
That's when you can get the natural motivation. So that even when you're done with your program, with your project, you'll continue learning.
Yes.
That's what it's
get
right. So the first thing you can do is for what we're doing is you support them with data.
Very important.
We support with data, so you don't need to worry about data and all of that. And then of course, you can also give them scorecard. You can have a scorecard.
A leaderboard.
A leaderboard, fantastic. That works as well. So a leaderboard. How many of you have completed this? And then what's the pace? At what time will you do it?
Okay.
And then you published it. Social media. Give them a kind of banner and all of that. Badges and all of that.
Yes.
That works better than any other thing.
Yes.
Don't think of monetizing anything.
No.
So, but that really works, and it's working. It's still working for us. So that works for educators 100%. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aziz. This has been a wholesome conversation, and I trust that our listeners are itching to give us their feedback. So to you, our listeners, how do you think we can support educators to attain the right level of digital wellness and resilience needed to support learners to achieve their learning outcomes leveraging technological platforms? Would love to hear from you. Send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message to 0703 165 0809. You could also drop us a message on X using the hashtag EdTech Mondays Nigeria. We'll look at it and we will get right back to you. Thank you so much for being our guest today. Afeez, it's been interesting talking to you. We hope we see you on other episodes.
Definitely. It's been an awesome time here. And then for people listening, especially educators, I will urge everyone to be very intentional about, including technology in what they're doing, because that's the way forward. However, be very, very intentional about understanding that every teacher will not be at the same pace. All students will not be at the same pace. So you have to put some key things in your school, just like the way you motivate your school. When you're going through a library, you see learning is going on and all of that. You always say, oh, it's okay for screen time now. It's okay that you have spent 5 hours on your phone in your school area. It's okay when you get home, just spend 3 hours before you go to bed. All these things, they are recessive. Over time, students keep saying it and it sticks to your head and they become more intentional about what they're doing. So these are key things everyone can do. And I believe that with what you're doing here, a lot of people will be sensitized about digital platform and how best you can include that in education.
Thank you so much, Afeez. And to you, our listeners, are you curious to continue the conversation after now? Of course, you can follow us on WhatsApp and Telegram using our WhatsApp and Telegram channels, EdTech Mondays Nigeria. Join the conversation, share your feedback, share your experience. Would love to hear from you. And in case you know anyone who might have missed this episode, do not worry, we have you covered. You can listen to us at Spotify at EdTech Mondays Nigeria or on YouTube. Thank you for being a part of the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show this week. Till I come your way same time next week, I remain your host Chinyelu Akpa, and it's bye for now.
EdTech Monday is proudly brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.